Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspiration Morning Live. I am Christina Crowley, and I'm so glad to have you here with me this morning. And those of you who are seeing this in the replay, thank you so much for joining me in the replay. I know our schedules don't always match, and that's why there's the replays. And then for those of you who are here with me live today, I'm going to get started with my talk. Now, you know I help people who are going after their passion, who want to go after their passion, and there's a lot of things that happen when you're going after your passion. And, what I find is that sometimes we get stuck in a story. And what I'm asking you today is to look into what's your story? What is the story you tell yourself? Now, I know for a lot of people, the story is oh, well, that's you. I can't do that. When you really want to. And I did that for years. And any number of people really do that. And when I talk with other coaches or when I talk with, students, they're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's a story because, yes, you can. Now, you may not want to, but you can't. You can. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Inspiration Morning Live. We're talking about what's your story today. And though this conversation could go a number of ways, because there's a number of different types of stories, let's talk about what's personal to you. What is your personal story? My personal story is I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, and I love animals, and I love my job, and I love my clients. I'm a good business person. I have plenty of faults, and I'm not going to go there. Some of those may be stories. Some of them may be true. But what's your story? What is the story you tell yourself when you're starting something new? When I'm starting to go after a new passion, I tell myself a lot of stories, and they're not necessarily true. Now, Teresa and I, we've started a new podcast, and we're continuing on an old one that I started many years ago. It brought me back to knowing that there were a lot of stories I told myself, like, I can't do this. Nobody will want to listen to me. Nobody will subscribe. Nobody will comment. Nobody will give me any good reviews. And most of all, nobody will listen again. There was a huge story there. And what I found out over the years was that wasn't true. It is not true. Because I put it out there and people listened. People subscribed. People commented. And so that wasn't true, was it? Hello, good morning. I see there's some more joining us. Thank you for joining me today. We're talking about what's your story, and we're taking it in a personal way. What is the personal story you tell about yourself to yourself? Is it nice? Some of them I'm sure are. Some of them I'm sure are really nice because we do want to be nice to ourselves. And if you're interested in self-care, then you do work on a kind story to yourself. But some of them aren't. And the bad ones are the hardest to get rid of. The easy ones are easier to tell, but the nice ones are the easiest to discount. And so I also like to think about, learn the lesson of what these stories are trying to tell you. For me, the I can't, the lesson was I had to go out and test that theory. And it was scary. And it was hard. And it took me 2 years to get started. I learned about podcasting in 2010 when we were at a seminar in Las Vegas. And Sam Crowley, no relation, got up on the stage and talked about podcasting. I was like, oh, wow. That's cool. I have to do that. But I just had an accident and things weren't right with my brain. I had a head injury, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. But I can't do it. I'm not like Sam. He's confident. He's a guy. He has a family. He's established. He's doing well. But that was my story. And it took me 2 years to get rid of that story. So what did I do to get rid of that story? I just tested it. And so what is your story? Do any of you have any stories? Give me some hearts, give me some likes, give me some thumbs up, turn up the sound if you're just tuning in. I do appreciate you tuning in. What are your stories? And though if you're not going to put them in to the chat, I know sometimes it's really hard to be that vulnerable. Why do you have that particular story about yourself? I don't always know why. I don't always know why. And that's not always the most important thing. The most important thing is breaking that story about yourself. Not proving to yourself it's true, but just, going beyond it and not letting it be true. And also understanding the feeling that it leaves with you. Stories leave you with a feeling. And I think it's more the feeling more than the story that is the result. For me, I felt like, because I wanted to do something and I knew that I couldn't. Hello, good morning. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some hearts. We're talking about what's your story today. And I'm putting one of my stories out there because I know we all have them. And I just feel, it's worth it for me to put out a story of one of my stories. And I still have them. I haven't cured it. If I could cure having stories, period, I'd be the richest woman on earth. But I know how to get rid of them. And, and they continue to come up because self-doubt, it's all around us. And if you watch any ads on TV, they're meant to put self-doubt onto us. Do you need deodorant? You need whiter teeth. Mr. Right isn't going to come along unless you're perfect. Stories. All stories. I think what it really comes down to is just really feeling good about yourself. And it's those feelings. What is it? How it makes you feel? How do those stories make you feel? What is it validating about yourself? For me, not being able to start a podcast validated that I didn't have the ability to create a life I wanted and I loved. I'd just been laid off. I really enjoyed that job and it hurt. And with the accident, just added into, I was in pain. I needed to repair. How could I start something new? So there was story upon story upon story, and it was layer after layer after layer. And a lot of stories are like that, especially the big ones about something we really want. And that goes to resistance. Resistance, makes you break out of that story, or it keeps you in that story. But to push through resistance and get away from resistance, it makes you break out of the story. I said that wrong. I do that sometimes. But, what is your story? Learn the lesson. Know how that story makes you feel. I think that is the biggest clue to getting out from its grip. Now, Teresa and I were continuing on with a new podcast, and we got it approved in iTunes, and we're getting some plays, and we're getting some listens, and we got a bunch ready to go. We got a bunch in the can. We're on like day 5. We're not on New and Notable yet. I'd love to be, but we're not. But and we don't even need that. We're doing this, and we have something to say, and we feel good about it. And it was a little nerve-wracking at first, and it was a little bumpy. We recorded a bunch on Sunday, and I've never done a podcast with someone. And even though as close as Teresa and I are, we don't have that rhythm of doing the podcast yet. But after we did 5 of them, we started to get a rhythm. And it felt good. And it feels good to have people who are going and listening to it. Excuse me. I need a drink. I'm getting parched. I have Create today. Yeah, I'd like that to be a picture that I could put on the front. I'm going to hold this to hope that it gets a picture of it. All right, so I have my Create mug today. I like my mugs. I have many mugs, and they do kind of, I like to keep reminded throughout the day of how I want to feel. I want to feel creative all day. I sold a couple of my books right on. Thank you. If it's any of you who watch, I appreciate it. Doing things builds a momentum. Staying stuck in your story doesn't build that momentum. And what I really want to say is challenge yourself. Challenge that story. Journal it out if you have to. If you're not sure what the story is, but you have one and you feel in a certain way. Because I've done that a lot too. And I did that a lot after I got laid off. I've followed, many people who are real self-care experts for a lot of years, and a lot of coaches. And before I got my own coaches, to just break out of what I wanted to be, to not stay stuck in what my story told me I had to be. Sometimes stories are told to you. Sometimes stories are forced upon you. Sometimes you learn your stories from those you hang around. And sometimes you learn good stories from those you hang around, because they talk about you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around most, or the 5 people you hang around consistently. Hello, welcome. I see we got some more people. Listen, give me some thumbs up. Give me some hearts. I really do appreciate those. And I enjoy you watching the Facebook Live. So do you think that those people who get together, who you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with most, and they say your incomes are similar, do you think there's any stories going on there? There's either the story of I can, or the story that we are where we are. And when one wants to break out, they tend to break away from that group. If that group, because you're supporting each other's story. And so I like to talk about that a lot. I looked around, and it's kind of the same though. Two of my coaches, gosh, I wish I made the income that they do, but I don't yet. But that is why I do have them coach me, is so that I can kind of do like they do, and I can copy and replicate what they do. They say success leaves clues, and I think that that's one of them. And I think the clue that I have learned most is to question your own story and build one that supports real self-worth. Build one that says, I can, I am worthy, I am willing. I talk about that a lot. And so, do that. Do that within yourself, and I think what I'm going to talk about later this week, I only have tomorrow, Friday, is it's never too late. And we're going to talk about this on the podcast tonight. It's never too late. You're never too late. And there's 100 examples of people who, they started learning, or they started something new, either after retirement or in their 40s or their 50s or 60s, that they started something new. So it's never too late. Some people think they're over in their 20s, but they're not. You're not. It's never too late, and it's never too late to question your story. All righty. I've gone on for a bit now. I want to say thank you to those of you who tune in, who watch us in the replay. I really appreciate it. Those of you who give me thumbs up, who share this. If you find value in this, please share it. I really appreciate those too. And click the heart button if you feel that it's all been helpful. What are your biggest challenges? What are your biggest fears around your story? Has this brought up something in you like, oh yeah, I have a story. Do I need to change my story? Do you need to change your story? Is your story supporting what you really want in your life, or is it pulling you back? Feel free to let me know. Feel free to let me know in the comments. For some reason, I'm not seeing any hearts go by today, and maybe the Be Live, it gets a little busy sometimes and doesn't show me a lot of things. But I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you on my next Facebook Live. Ta-ta for now, and thank you so much.